Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have a new best friend today. Her name is Reverend Kathleen Hoffman. She is the spiritualist minister from Onset, right down at the beginning of the Cape. And I'm just thrilled to meet her because we've had a great time. She's just like an old friend that I've known forever and easy to talk to. So welcome to Awaken the Dream. And I think your spiritualism is very exciting, and I've had a little career in that I used to go all the time, but I feel I fit in everywhere, so that's why I wanted to have someone like you on, because I've come to your church.
Well, wonderful.
And I've heard you speak, and all I know is how much people love you there.
Well, thank you.
You've got a brilliant reputation, you're sincere, and when I looked over your bio, I was very touched by all the service work that you do. How did you get to spiritualism? Let's help our friends.
Oh, well, that's...
Where did it all start, your relationship with the Spirit?
Well, it started when I was a young girl, but I had no idea until I came into the religion in itself. And I actually came through some friends that had found out that there was a spiritualist church.
Ah.
And we actually got together. We belonged to a sports support group together.
Uh-huh.
And you know how like some girls would get together and they'll say, well, who's the good reader around town, or who's the good psychic? And,
you were talented as a kid. Is that true?
Yes, I was very emotionally absorbent of people's emotions and so forth. So when I was a little girl, if we went to the circus with my mother and father, I would go look for the woman that's behind the glass that's holding the deck of cards. I was so enthralled. I wouldn't want to go see the lady with the two heads or with my brother. I'd soon it was intrigued by psychic ability ever since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
And so
the sensitivity.
And it was kind of sad because as a little girl I was a very absorbent person. I knew what my adults were thinking. I knew. And so I would oftentimes have, little bouts of sadness or whatever.
You must have suffered.
Oh yeah, I did a lot. And it wasn't until not too long ago until I learned through this spiritual unfoldment classes when Gladys and Kenneth were pastors of the church that I was very empathic.
Okay.
So I was picking other people's emotions and so forth, and that's part of...
It's a lot to carry.
Yeah. So I've had experiences that were amazing,
Can you ever learn to carry it without being done in?
Oh, yes.
You can.
Yes.
You can protect.
That took me a while, yes. Protection is a very big part of the key. But I tried many of them, asking, people would say, well, you need to protect yourself and give me different keys and ideas. And I think, for me, I had to develop my own.
Okay. Because you found something that worked.
That I found something that worked. Because we're all unique in our own...
I kick and scream. Yeah. I demand.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad idea because we're co-creators of our lives.
Yes.
So we can say, we can command and demand.
Right. See this for me because I'm doing a lousy job of it.
Yes, right. Exactly. It can be difficult, yeah.
So you were raised not a spiritualist?
No, I was raised Catholic, very strong Catholic. I went to church every Sunday. My grandmother was a very, she was actually an avatar for metaphor in her own rights because she could breathe the rosary and speak the rosary.
My gosh.
And church was a big part of our lives, but she did it in a way that wasn't cramming it down your throat. Yeah. And what I learned from her, she was my spiritual metaphor and mentor.
Oh, nice.
What I learned from her was forgiveness. And because when somebody was doing something that was harmful to another family member, or something that she might say, grab me and say, Kathleen, let's say the rosary together. So, my knees still crack a little bit now, I think, from kneeling all the time saying the rosary.
Oh.
But, it wasn't uncommon to go by her room and you could hear her saying, Hail Mary, full of grace.
Oh.
But you'd walk in her room and she had us all of the children plastered with their school pictures along the wall with Mother Mary's statue and Jesus on the cross.
Oh, dear.
And, but
you felt loved. You
felt
must have felt
loved
very
and
loved.
felt like protected even because she was praying for us all.
Oh, wow.
And then she later in her life had pilgrimages to Italy where the Blessed Mother appeared, and there's been evidence, and we have pictures. I have a whole portfolio. And that's a whole nother story that I could share with you. Ooh. Because even at the time that I became assistant co-pastor of the church, I had doubts because when you're a Catholic, I think it's always in your bones and your cells, and nothing wrong with Catholic. I believe whatever religion anybody feels
if it works
and fits
for you.
in.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of diverse people that come to diverse religions that come to our church
Yeah.
for whatever reason that is.
Yeah.
And so there's no judgment here.
That would fit with me, to think about the Spiritualist Church being almost a center where anybody could come from any faith. It would just work.
Yes. Right, because
because it's not dogma down your throat.
Right. It's not dogma. It's personal responsibility for our own happiness or unhappiness, the way we obey or disobey nature. Yeah, it is. We're responsible.
I mean, you have to help people grow up.
Yes. But, you know, even going back in time with the story about my grandmother, if you...
Yes, I want to hear that.
I was at the church, and I was doing a class presentation for spiritual unfoldment on spirit flame. And what spirit flame cards, and what that is that you have a candle, a long regular stem candle, and you light it, and you have an index card, maybe a 3 to 5 by 7, whatever index card. It's blank. You take out of the package blank with nothing on either side, and we do a prayer and meditation, and we take the card and go over the flame with it. And Spirit utilizes the soot from the flame too. There's pictures of cherubs, of letters, of loved ones, of guides, that come on the card.
Really?
Oh, it's amazing. Oh. So when I was sitting in the class, and I think I was assistant co-pastor at the time, and I was doing my first class on it, I actually sat there and I said to my grandmother in my mind's eye, I said, Grammy, if I'm in the right place, let me know. Still wondering if I'm doing the right thing here. Because, you know, you're brought up that way. It's really hard to get it out of your bones. I believed in everything else, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So I went and took the card and went over the flame just lightly as it was. And there were 2 women beside me. And once I took the card off the flame, because you intuitively take it off when you think you're ready.
Yeah.
And there it was, the picture. In fact, I forgot to bring it with me. It would have been wonderful to show.
Yeah.
But at some point when my website finally gets up, I'm going to have it on there. But what it was a picture of Jesus on the cross. Now, you could just see his face with the, and his eyes were slanted, and you could see it was the thorns coming up here. So when he was on the cross, in the background, and Mother Mary as a silhouette, you can actually see the side of her face and the eyebrows and the eyelashes with her white, you know, like the nuns would wear that. But what really, if I had just saw that, I said, oh, I think I need to leave. But what put it together, is the 2 dolphins that went up in the middle like this. Now, why would that put it together? When Gladys and Kenneth, well, actually when Kenneth passed away, we did a memorial window for him inside the church. And we had a beautiful, talented young woman in the parish that did stained glass. And what we decided on is to do the 2 dolphins coming up with the sun. So when we saw the 2 dolphins matched over that, to me that meant yes. We're in the right place.
Yes,
you know,
you got your guidance is working.
What a magical experience that was. Yeah.
It sounds like miracle making.
Yes.
Yeah. And isn't that? I mean, they're supposed to be very natural.
Yes.
But they happen if we pay attention.
Right.
And we ask.
Right. Ask and you shall receive.
Yes.
And spirituals look at this as natural law, not so much as a miracle.
Yeah.
But it's natural to do this when you're using universal laws.
Yeah.
It's natural to get evidence like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I when I said miracle, I had the same meaning that you have.
Yes. I still say miracles, so don't worry.
Well, no, it's just that when the synchronicity of receiving guidance is just mind-blowing.
It is. It is.
It's like a head slap. It's like, oh, it's so...
It is. It's wonderful what Spirit can do.
I know.
What the afterlife can still communicate with us and how it can help us in our lives to move. Because this isn't very easy at times for people. Everybody suffers a loss. Everybody suffers some pain or another.
Yeah.
So
life
it gives
is hard.
us... Right. Mm-hmm. So knowing that we can communicate with our loved ones, knowing that we are not alone, that we have guides that are helping us, it can make for an easier existence on the earth plane.
Yeah. Having come to some of your services, I'm just flabbergasted at some of the guides that come through for people that they had forgotten about or didn't expect might be concerned or have a
Yes.
message.
Yes.
Is that unusual, or do folks usually receive the parent or someone they're looking for, or are they often a surprise?
Well, it makes me think about one case. Some people are surprised. Some people aren't sure of who it is at first.
Oh.
And then they'll call and say, "Oh my gosh, I know who that was," and they're so excited.
Oh.
At the time, I think we're so excited to get a message that maybe we're just. And sometimes what happens is we're just tuned into one person that you want. Like, say, if you're
Oh.
family member, mother, father, and maybe recently passed, we want that person to be there, and maybe somebody else comes in to soften it, maybe an aunt or an uncle, or maybe a friend, and they don't remember that situation, but when they have time to reflect on it,
Yeah.
then they remember, and it's exciting to see that happen for them. It brings them light. People have actually say, not me, they say you because I would just happen to be the medium, but it could be any medium.
Yeah.
It saved my life.
Yeah.
Because they were so trodden
Yeah.
and so forth. But I have to share a funny story. One time I had given a message to this woman, and it was actually her ex-husband. So I'm bringing him in. She goes, "I don't want to hear from him." So I said, "I'm sorry, but I can't stop him from coming in. But he has something special to say to you," and it was sorry. So, so that was...
Or I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So that was...
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Is it hard to give messages, or do you know where to go in the room? I mean, or how are you guided? If that's a good question, I don't know.
Well, this is interesting. You should ask, too. I guess everything's meant to be, because I came under the guise of Kenneth and Gladys in the sense that it was more quick, precise, boom, sort of bullet mediumship. And so when I go into a church or something, I'll just go like bullets all the way through. And that requires great trust of spirit. Not that the other doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, there's different ways of doing mediumship. There is ways where you're guided by spirit to go. Okay, so I sort of kind of asked my guides to, I'm going to go bullet, and we're going to go to everyone, versus sort of coming and just picking and choosing. I do both.
Okay, I've seen both. I've experienced both.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to come to, the gentleman over there.
Yes.
Someone's,
Yes, somebody's pulling you in, or
Yeah.
somebody, or your family members here, and
Yeah.
I've seen them before. I've seen them driving up, driving here to the church. I've had somebody's father with me all this time, and it's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Well, now, when you function in a service, do you do private readings and people come to you because they want to hear from someone? I mean, how do you function as a pastor of a church?
Okay. Well, within the church, if somebody, we have Medium's Day every first Saturday of the month. In fact, this Saturday we're having Medium's Day from 2:30 to 4. So I'll be there on Medium's Day. Or if somebody does want me after church or before, I do, just like Gladys and Kenneth. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll set up a time and a place to meet with them and do mediumship, yes.
When I read your bio, which is so impressive, you're really service-oriented. You work for the criminal justice service. You teach. You're a Reiki teacher. Mm-hmm. I was just blown away. You're so focused in your world. You found your mission.
Well, it found me, I think.
It found you. But isn't it fascinating? Because I think everybody has one.
Yes.
And I love folks who come on the show, hopefully to inspire others. If you don't have it, keep looking.
Exactly.
There's always a thread that sort of comes through where
It's
all of a sudden
magnificent.
one thing winds to another, and then, wow, that relates to this, and here I am. And
Right, and that's funny because, like I said, when I was a younger child going to the circus, I was attracted there. Now I'm a medium, and I do also, as a young child, I used to draw. I have a little bit of drawing abilities, do murals and things like that.
Yeah.
And all I would do is sit and draw faces, and all the time when I was a little girl.
I love to draw faces.
There, and so now I do spirit drawings. Now, as a little girl, did I know I was going to do that? And the other interesting thing is, when I went to church, my grandmother at one time had lived with us, and she dropped me off at church. And I remember sitting there. I must have only been between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Sitting there in the church, and I was overwhelmed by the pastor's, the priest at the time, was in the Catholic religion, his sermon. And I started crying almost. And so I thought, I'm going to go thank him when we get out of church.
Oh.
And so I went where the bars are and where they walk out, and I'm behind the bars, hoping I'd say, Father. And then my grandmother was out there beeping for me to get in the car, so I didn't get a chance to. Now, I already had this I admired people that could move people, that could help
that
people,
were passionate.
That were passionate, and that gave something that could be uplifting to others.
Yeah.
So little did I know that was another set in motion to become, if you would have asked me even, before I became assistant coach, I never had it planned.
Oh.
I never had it plotted.
Yeah.
It just all fell in.
Yeah.
But that's where I say, your life purpose, if you look into your childhood, you could even you look back and you say, wow, it was starting right there and I didn't even know
That's
it.
a beautiful theme, working through your childhood. Maybe you didn't identify it then.
Right.
I'm certainly getting that piece.
Yeah,
just seeing the Christian Science and then moving into something else, and then you get another. I mean, the journey never ends, does it?
Another piece to the puzzle.
Another chapters.
Yes.
And I don't know, books falling out of the library at
Yes,
you,
yes.
or something grabs you, and then, I don't know, I think we're all supposed to deliver the message of love. And no matter how you do it, we're all teachers. I think we're all needed here.
Yes, we're all here, like yourself. I believe we're all here to do service to for one another.
Absolutely.
It may be in different places, shapes and forms.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for.
Yeah. This planet needs some cleaning up.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
And I think people are getting a little more activists are coming out saying, what are you going to do?
Yes.
If you're going to heaven, you can't go without your friends here. So
yes.
don't think it's done just because you feel this way.
Right.
You got to take everybody with you.
Right. Don't stand on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Be a part of, when the ship is sinking, don't look for the hole. Look to how to help, how to bring it up again.
Well, you know how you feel when you've given and when you serve. I mean, you're alive.
Yes.
That's life.
Yes.
You're filled with life.
If you're doing your life purpose, whatever you're good at, and you love to do, and you do it, and your God-given talent, then life becomes much better and more uplifting.
Yeah.
It's when we feel that we have to get stuck in areas. We're stuck and we don't believe that it's possible to move forward.
Yeah.
There's always a way out.
Yeah.
And if you ask, you will receive, but we have to ask because we have free will.
Yeah. I have to ask a question about the deceased that come and visit folks. Now, I mean, I don't know if there's an answer to this. Do you have a choice on the other side as to whether you care to partake or whether you can just say, I'm not, I mean, is there any way we can know anything like their choice, or would they just come forward because they want to?
I think it's our divine plan always to be of service.
Okay.
So I believe that when we go into the spirit world, we'll learn what we needed to learn, we'll review our lives, we'll look at everything and we'll say, okay, maybe I didn't do so well in the patience area,
Okay.
And maybe I'm going to sort of help another person or be a guide to another person that had the same struggle as I did in some ways.
Yeah.
So I'll be a guide.
Yeah. Good answer to that question. That makes so much sense. If someone didn't get a piece, then they're still at work.
Yes.
The soul still is at work.
It's eternal.
You take what you've learned with you. Maybe you'll leave this body and do something else. But whatever you've overcome is your backbone.
Right.
And then you just keep going.
Right. And if I can entice people that no matter how hard your life is, just keep on asking. Because, the incredible things have happened I haven't had an easy life. And a lot of us haven't.
No.
But I learned the darkest points of our lives are the most powerful, wonderful experiences. The light is always at the end of the tunnel.
The Pluto experience.
Yes.
Transformation.
Yes.
Sometimes things have to get worse before they
get better. And don't give up.
Yes. I think a rough life can be an incredible blessing for someone to really get it.
Yes.
True.
Loss. If we look at it that way.
Yeah.
If we look at it that way. I mean, people have losses in various ways. I just had a friend that lost 6 people within 2 weeks.
Oh, dear.
To spirit. So, I thought to myself, oh, boy, that must be a challenge and a half,
Wow.
And she's doing well. It's amazing, And so how come some people can do so amazingly well and others people may not? And I think the ones that can, somehow they have an extreme faith and trust that everything is unfolding the way it should be.
Yeah.
You know.
And that can come a lot from your childhood,
Yeah.
no matter what that looks like.
Right.
If you have a support system,
Yes.
even if the support system is something you end up not being at all involved with, but if you have that love and someone caring for you.
Right. Right, exactly.
And think of all the lives on this planet that nobody cared for.
Right, exactly. And it reminds me at the time, if my grandmother didn't give me the faith that as a young child, I can remember swinging on the swing set. I loved to swing. It's such freedom when you swing, you know?
Yeah.
So I was swinging on and I'd always look up in the sky and I'd say, God is going to help all of us, you know, and really feel that way, you know,
Yeah.
and really feel like everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's precious for a child, aloneness.
Yeah. By the way, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No,
Well, your graphics are going to be shown to our friends so they'll know where to find you, but you're in Onset.
Yes.
What time are your services on Sunday?
6:30 p.m.
Okay.
to 8 p.m. And
At
in this
night?
fellowship, yes, it's different. So a lot of people go to their day churches, afternoon churches, and come on over to ours in the evening.
All right. So that, and anything else in place for services during the week? Or is it?
Well, we have spiritual unfoldment classes every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Open to the public. You don't have to be a member. And
Oh, nice.
it's an education, only $5 to join us.
Oh, go on.
Yeah. So, and we have, what's amazing too, we have mediums from all over the world that come and visit, offer workshops and so forth. And this coming weeks, the 8th, 9th, and 10th, we're having Christina Cross from Chicago.
Oh.
And she's famous for teaching how to access the Akashic Records, which is all our lives and all that's been going on since our inception of time.
Wow.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Edgar Casey talks much about that
Yeah.
in his books and so forth.
So there's a real theme here that guidance is available.
Yes.
And of course, my goal is 24/7. I want to be listening. I want to be hearing. And I want to hear that. I can get a nudge. Sometimes I get a hunch. Sometimes I get an intuitive flash. It's not always a sentence that comes to me, but just my chemistry knows. Aha.
Mm-hmm. Right, your gut feeling.
The gut feeling.
Yeah, that's a book I'm writing about that, about following your antenna, your inner antenna, your gut feeling.
That's God working in your life.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And in all the work I do on a regular daily basis, excuse me, and with people in relationships, we know when we meet somebody, you know, and then sometimes, especially women, we love so much to love and be loved, and we can get confused and so forth. But I say to women, always follow your antenna, always follow, even if you get the littlest red flag, be careful.
Yeah, and sometimes they're assignments, and sometimes those assignments show up in another disguise.
Yes.
I went through numerous ones to sort of understand a dynamic that I wasn't quite getting. I shed a few of them, and then the next one I shed a few more. It seems to take forever for some of us. Maybe I'm a slow learner.
Well, trust me, me too. I fall into my own river of sticks myself.
But then when you get to a plateau where things seem clear and you've got some rules to follow, where you're ready to go down that brick road and you know what to do.
Yes.
And if you're in trouble, you know where to go and how to fix it.
Right. Exactly. No, having tools is very important. That's what we're looking for when we seek. What are the tools? How can I better help my life? What can I do? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, all this. So everybody seeks, and the thing is true, and to be patient about that seeking too.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard to be patient.
Yes, we're a world where it's fast.
I know.
But with development, it takes time.
Yeah.
And sometimes we.
Do you find that some of your students get a little frustrated at the beginning where
they
feel they want more than they're getting?
Yes, and one of the biggest things to teach is to trust what you get.
Yeah.
And to don't compare, because somebody could come right into, you could be doing spiritual unfoldment for 25 years and you get one 20-year-old young lady come in and she gets it like this. We just don't, you know, each one of us, just like we all have a DNA, we all have unique talents and abilities, unique to ourselves. So my mediumship might be a little tad different than your mediumship. Don't make it less or better. That's where we get in trouble. Less or better. That's our ego coming in. And yes, people come and go because they don't want to have, they don't feel that they're moving or shifting fast enough, so they go, but that's okay, that's their path if they go elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, another thing to help our friends is you can get messages in weird ways.
Yes.
Like I said, sometimes it's not only a stream of consciousness that comes through. I remember looking at a newspaper once that fell on my feet, and the answer to what I was worried about was on the headline.
It's on the headline. That's not
and
beautiful.
I knew. We have
Yes.
2 minutes. So in those
Yes.
2 minutes, we have to let people know again.
Okay.
Reverend Kathleen Hoffman is
Yes.
the spiritualist minister from the Onset Spiritualist Church.
Yes.
And you're here to visit with me for several times. But you're such a delight.
Well, thank
and
you,
you're
Penelope.
so
You too.
easy and you're so real.
Well, thank you.
That one can tell when somebody's real. And so you do counseling, you do teaching, you have a full service church.
Yes.
And
do workshops.
Workshops.
And,
What's the location in Onset? Do you have an address?
It's 17 Highland Avenue. I have a website too.
Oh, yes, and that's church1.org.
Yeah, and it's church1.org.
Church, I like that, church1.org.
Yeah.
And then they can find out everything that you do.
They can find out all about, our Declaration of Principles, and they
Yes.
find out the workshops, events, the classes,
Yeah.
who's serving, everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's spiritualism doing today? It's been out for a long time, right?
Yes, it's been out in the ethers for a very long time. It's way back in the 17th, 18th century. I mean, it's amazing. When you look into the history and do the courses on spiritualism, it's amazing the history about spiritualism.
Yeah.
And Onset was a spiritualist community.
That's
all
right.
the houses and everything. It's amazing.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. And there's other spiritualist camps that I serve in Connecticut and Temple Heights and Maine. So anyway, people do still want to know and communicate with their loved ones and expand in their development through unfoldment classes. So I think it's still doing very well.
Yeah. In our last minute, it is such a comfort to know that somebody knows you're here. Somebody's guiding you or is aware.
That's aware of what you're going through and wants to
So
help you.
you're not separate.
Not separate. No, we are all one.
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
As soon as we know that, so that kindness can be done unto another as we'd
Yes.
want done to ourselves.
Yes.
And as soon as we know that we're not better or less, and that's what I love to teach the kids when I teach in the schools.
Yeah.
The number one thing you need to do for yourself is build your sense of self-esteem.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah. Because if you love one another and you forgive one another, then you really are showing your self-esteem.
Yes.
You're showing your strength.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Kathleen.
you, Penelope. I appreciate it.
This has been wonderful to see Kathleen today and to meet her and to talk about spiritualism. And she will be back next week to talk to us again. Thank you.